Listen closely. Something subtle is shifting inside you. The quiet stirring you feel is not random, it is awakening. Spiritual growth is never sudden. It is a slow unfolding, a gradual shedding of what no longer serves your soul. True transformation doesn't come from forcing change. It comes from releasing, from letting go of habits, thoughts, and fears that weigh you down. October carries its own energy. It is a doorway, a time when inner clarity rises and hidden patterns surface. The air itself seems to whisper that some things are meant to be left behind, not held onto. Those who are spiritually awake sense this. They feel an invisible call to step deeper into themselves, to cleanse their mind, body, and spirit of unnecessary burdens. In this video, I will guide you through 9 things that spiritually aware people will slowly release this month. Each one is a quiet test of courage, discipline, and honesty. Some may seem small at first, almost invisible, but each is a step toward mastery over your own life. These are not ordinary lessons. They are principles rooted in ancient Shaolin wisdom and timeless mindfulness practices. By watching till the end, you will see patterns in your own life you may have ignored and recognize the subtle ways you can free yourself from limitation. You will understand how letting go can create space for strength, clarity, and deeper peace. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. Here, we explore the path of mastery, the art of presence, and the hidden truths that guide those ready to awaken fully. Subscribe now and join this journey of inner fire, because what you release this October may become the foundation of who you are truly meant to be. There comes a moment when the applause of others no longer stirs your spirit. At first, it may feel unsettling, like walking alone in a silent forest. Yet, this is the beginning of true freedom. Those who are spiritually awake begin to see that their worth is not measured by recognition, praise, or approval. Every glance, every comment, every expectation of the world becomes less binding, less defining. Shaolin philosophy has long taught the art of self-reliance. The warrior begins not by seeking validation, but by aligning with his own inner truth. Strength comes from quiet discipline, from observing one's thoughts and actions without surrendering them to the judgments of others. A master moves through life with a calm certainty, not because the world applauds, but because the soul itself is steady and aligned. In this stillness, mindfulness reveals its power. To observe without attachment is to notice the opinions that arise and let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. They do not touch the essence of who you are. Spiritual people practice this every day, quietly freeing themselves from the subtle chains of comparison and expectation. Each thought of inadequacy, each desire to impress is recognized, acknowledged, and released. As you release the need for external validation, a strange clarity emerges. Decisions are no longer weighed by how they appear to others, but by what resonates with your inner harmony. Peace replaces tension, and confidence grows, not from approval, but from knowing your own path. The heart becomes both compass and guide. Step by step, this release transforms not only the way you live, but the way you experience life itself. You begin to walk lighter, move with purpose, and speak with a voice that carries the calm authority of someone who has learned to trust themselves completely. There is a quiet strength in stepping back while others rush forward to fight. The world often mistakes noise for power, but those who walk the path of inner mastery know otherwise. Arguments, quarrels, and clashing opinions may seem unavoidable, yet they drain the mind and scatter the spirit. Conscious individuals begin to see these battles for what they are: energy wasted, focus diverted, and peace disrupted. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that true strength is not displayed in confrontation. It is cultivated in stillness, patience, and self-discipline. A master does not seek to dominate with words or force, but to understand the rhythm of life and act with clarity when action is truly necessary. Every unnecessary argument avoided becomes a practice of restraint, a meditation in motion. Ego often drives these conflicts. The need to be right, to defend, to prove oneself creates invisible chains. Spiritual awakening calls for the softening of these impulses, for the recognition that the mind grows clearer when it is not entangled in the struggle for supremacy. Letting go of ego-driven battles allows space for reflection, for learning, and for growth that is both deep and lasting. In daily life, this might be subtle: a word left unsaid, a reaction withheld, a silence that speaks louder than any retort. Yet each act of restraint strengthens the spirit. Inner peace is not a reward granted by the absence of conflict, but a skill honed through conscious choice. Those who master this know the power of observation over reaction, of patience over impulse, and of wisdom over pride. Slowly, the world feels lighter. Energy that once fed arguments now nourishes purpose. Time once spent defending the self is returned to cultivation of mind, body, and spirit. In this way, the letting go of unnecessary conflicts becomes not an act of surrender, but a deliberate step toward true personal mastery. The body remembers every choice, and the mind carries every pattern. Some habits are quiet thieves, stealing clarity and strength without notice. They may seem harmless at first, a small indulgence, a fleeting escape, but over time they cloud judgment, disturb balance, and weigh down the spirit. Spiritual awakening begins when the soul recognizes these patterns and gently yet firmly begins to release them. Shaolin teachings place great emphasis on discipline, not as punishment but as a path to freedom. The warrior trains both body and mind, knowing that mastery in one without the other is incomplete. Every morning of mindful practice, every deliberate step away from distraction is a small act of liberation. The body becomes lighter, the mind sharper, and the heart steadier. Letting go of toxic habits is rarely sudden. It is a patient, deliberate process. One does not need to conquer the world in a single day. Even the smallest victories, a meal chosen with care, a thought observed and redirected, a moment of stillness instead of indulgence, begin to shift the internal landscape. Each choice compounds, creating space for clarity, for insight, and for strength that comes from within. Ancient masters understood that true power arises from restraint and consistency. Habits are not merely actions, they are extensions of the mind. By observing them, understanding their roots, and slowly releasing those that harm, one aligns with a higher order of living. Discipline becomes a form of love for oneself, a declaration that the spirit matters more than fleeting pleasures or distractions. Step by step, life grows lighter. The mind is no longer clouded, the body no longer burdened, and the soul begins to move with quiet precision. In the rhythm of letting go, clarity emerges, not as an external achievement, but as an inner state cultivated through patience, awareness, and unwavering commitment to the path of self-mastery. There is a subtle power in being alone, yet the world often teaches fear of emptiness. Solitude can feel like isolation, but for those on the path of awakening, it becomes a mirror reflecting the depths of the self. The spiritually aware begin to recognize that aloneness is not a void, it is a doorway. In its quiet, the mind whispers truths that noise often conceals. Shaolin masters have long embraced periods of silence, knowing that stillness is a form of training. In the absence of distraction, every thought, every emotion, every desire can be observed without attachment. The body relaxes, the mind sharpens, and the spirit expands. Solitude becomes not loneliness, but a space of profound meditation and insight, a laboratory where inner wisdom is cultivated and tested. Fear of being alone often stems from attachment to people, to outcomes, to the constant stimulation of the senses. Letting go of this fear is an act of discipline, a conscious decision to sit with oneself and face the currents of thought and emotion without avoidance. Each moment of quiet strengthens resilience, teaching patience, self-reliance, and the subtle art of listening to one's own soul. In practice, embracing solitude may begin with small rituals, a walk in nature, a few minutes of breath awareness, or a pause to simply observe thoughts without reaction. Over time, these moments accumulate, and a new confidence arises, not from external support but from the inner foundation that solitude provides. Those who master the fear of being alone move with a calm certainty through the world. They carry a silent strength, unshaken by circumstance or opinion. In solitude, the mind becomes still, the heart becomes clear, and the spirit finds a rhythm that cannot be disturbed. Through aloneness, the path of self-discovery unfolds, revealing the depth, courage, and clarity that only stillness can teach. The mind often seeks the easiest path, the quick reward, the fleeting pleasure that vanishes as quickly as it appears. Yet those who walk the path of awakening begin to notice the emptiness hidden within instant gratification. Each moment of surrender to impulse may bring temporary comfort, but it leaves the spirit restless and unsteady. True fulfillment, they discover, comes slowly, patiently, like water carving stone over time. Shaolin wisdom has long emphasized the power of long-term discipline. The warrior trains daily, not for immediate applause, but for mastery that unfolds over years. Strength, clarity, and skill are not gifts of convenience, they are earned through consistent effort, restraint, and awareness. Each act of delayed gratification is a small victory over the impulses that cloud judgment and scatter energy. Awareness arises in observing the mind's cravings without surrender. The pull of instant reward becomes a teacher rather than a tyrant. In this subtle discipline, choices transform. Decisions are no longer dictated by comfort or desire, but guided by intention, purpose, and alignment with higher goals. Life's priorities shift naturally. Energy moves toward growth, relationships deepen, and actions gain clarity and impact. Even small changes reflect this principle. Choosing patience over convenience, waiting before reacting, completing a task fully before seeking pleasure. These are the building blocks of mastery. Each moment of self-restraint strengthens the mind, anchors the spirit, and expands the capacity for inner peace. Those who release the need for immediate satisfaction begin to feel time differently. The present is no longer a fleeting chase for pleasure, but a field for cultivation. Joy becomes layered, grounded, and enduring. In patience, the soul learns its true rhythm, and the path of life is no longer hurried, but measured, deliberate, and aligned with the deeper currents of awakening. The mind is quick to name, label, and divide. It judges what it sees, hears, and feels, often without awareness. Yet those on the path of spiritual awakening begin to notice the subtle weight of this habit. Every judgment, even silent or fleeting, erects a wall between the observer and the observed. Slowly, the wise learn that true clarity emerges not from labeling, but from presence, pure, unobstructed awareness. Shaolin masters have long taught that discernment is different from judgment. To see clearly does not require assigning value or ranking, but simply understanding what is. Observation without attachment allows the mind to recognize patterns, behaviors, and energies without being ensnared by bias or opinion. This discipline frees the spirit from the burden of constant comparison and the illusion of superiority or inferiority. Releasing judgment is also a path to compassion. When the mind stops condemning or defining others, space opens for understanding and empathy. The flaws we once highlighted in others become reflections of our own tendencies, inviting humility and insight. Each moment of noticing without labeling strengthens emotional resilience and deepens the capacity for connection. Mindfulness practices reinforce this lesson by revealing the impermanence of all thoughts, opinions, and events. What seemed absolute a moment ago fades into memory. What was judged harshly loses its grip when viewed with steady attention. Through repeated practice, the mind learns to meet the world with calm curiosity instead of reaction, and the heart softens while remaining clear and strong. Those who quit judgment move through life lightly, unburdened by the need to categorize or control. They see the world as it is, ever-changing, complex, and interconnected. In this space of observation, understanding flows naturally, and the wisdom born from clarity guides every choice, every action, and every moment of being fully present. The heart often clings to what it hopes will happen, grasping at outcomes like a traveler clutching sand. Yet those on the path of awakening begin to feel the subtle weight of attachment. Every expectation, every desire for a specific result brings tension and quiet suffering. Even when action is taken with skill and effort, the mind tied to the future remains restless, unable to find peace in the present. Shaolin wisdom offers a profound solution: effort without attachment. The master trains tirelessly, yet does not measure the value of each movement by applause or victory. Focus is placed on discipline, precision, and presence, on doing what must be done, rather than controlling what may follow. Action itself becomes the teacher, and the reward, if it comes, is a natural reflection, not the purpose. Letting go of outcomes does not mean inaction or passivity. It is a deep practice of trust and alignment. The spiritually aware learn to engage fully in the present, to pour their energy into every step, every thought, and every task without holding expectation. Each effort becomes a meditation, a statement of mastery over self rather than circumstance. This shift transforms life quietly but profoundly. Decisions are guided by clarity rather than fear. Energy that was once wasted on worry or overthinking flows into skillful action. The mind grows calm, the heart lighter, and the spirit free from the subtle chains of anticipation. Those who release attachment to results begin to see the beauty in process. Success is no longer defined by outcome, but by the integrity and awareness with which each moment is met. In this freedom, life itself becomes an unfolding practice, and the path of personal mastery is walked with serenity, discipline, and a deep, unshakable trust in the natural rhythm of existence. The body is often overlooked in the pursuit of spiritual growth, treated as a vessel to endure rather than a temple to honor. Yet those on the path of awakening begin to feel the deep connection between body and spirit. Every tension, every fatigue, every neglected habit is a message, a reminder that true mastery requires care for both physical and mental realms. Shaolin philosophy has long emphasized this union. The warrior does not separate the mind from the body. Strength, clarity, and resilience arise from disciplined movement, focused breath, and deliberate rest. Each practice, whether a form of martial training or a period of meditation, strengthens not just muscles or reflexes, but the very essence of awareness. The body becomes a living instrument of the mind, capable of reflecting inner calm, discipline, and precision. Mindful movement teaches presence. Every step, every gesture, every breath is observed and refined. Breathwork connects the mind to the body, anchoring awareness in the rhythm of life itself. Rest is not indulgence. It is a sacred act of restoration, allowing the spirit to integrate lessons and the mind to absorb clarity. Neglecting these practices slowly dims vitality, clouds judgment, and disrupts the subtle harmony that fuels spiritual growth. Those who honor their bodies experience a quiet transformation. Energy flows more freely, decisions are clearer, and challenges are met with resilience rather than strain. The body, once a source of weakness, becomes an ally, supporting the mind and the spirit in every endeavor. In time, caring for the physical form becomes an act of devotion, a reflection of inner discipline and respect for life itself. The temple of the body, tended with patience and awareness, mirrors the temple of the mind. Through this integration, spiritual awakening deepens, and the path of mastery is walked with strength, balance, and a profound sense of unity between all aspects of being. The river never stops moving, and yet the mind often resists its current. Change arrives quietly or suddenly, yet the heart clings to the familiar, to what feels safe, to what has been. Those on the path of awakening begin to notice the tension this creates, the quiet suffering of resisting the inevitable. Life, in its natural rhythm, flows through beginnings and endings, growth and decay, and true mastery lies in learning to move with it rather than against it. Shaolin teachings honor this principle deeply. A master does not force the river to bend to his will. He aligns with its flow. Discipline, patience, and awareness allow him to respond to each turn with clarity, strength, and calm. Resistance is seen as a form of suffering, while acceptance becomes a tool for liberation. To fight change is to fight life itself. To embrace it is to engage fully with the path of awakening. Mindfulness practices sharpen this awareness. Observing the impermanence of thoughts, emotions, and circumstances trains the mind to release attachment. Endings are met without fear, beginnings without haste, and transitions without panic. Each shift becomes an opportunity to cultivate resilience, insight, and deeper presence. The challenges that once seemed disruptive transform into lessons, guiding the spirit toward clarity and harmony. Those who release resistance move through life with a quiet confidence. They adapt without losing integrity, flow without surrendering discipline, and accept what comes without being carried away by it. The ever-changing nature of existence no longer threatens the mind, but strengthens it. In this surrender to the natural order, a deeper freedom emerges, one that honors both the journey and the self, and allows the spirit to navigate the currents of life with grace, wisdom, and enduring balance. The mind often reaches for control, grasping at events, people, and outcomes as if holding them tightly could secure peace. Yet those on the path of awakening begin to sense the futility of this effort. Life moves in rhythms beyond our command, and the struggle to dominate every detail only fractures the mind and drains the spirit. True mastery is not found in control. It is found in understanding the boundary between what can be guided and what must be accepted. Shaolin teachings have long emphasized this balance. The warrior trains tirelessly, honing skill and precision, yet he does not cling to the results of his actions. Each movement is deliberate, each decision purposeful, but the outcome is entrusted to the flow of circumstances. Attachment to control is seen as a shadow that clouds judgment, while skillful action paired with detachment becomes a path to clarity, strength, and freedom. Releasing the illusion of control is not surrender in weakness, it is discipline in wisdom. Observing the world with awareness allows the mind to act where it can and release where it cannot. Tension dissolves, energy is preserved, and the heart grows steady. Decisions arise naturally, guided by intuition rather than fear or desire, and action flows without the weight of obsession. In daily life, this practice transforms perspective. Delays, setbacks, and unexpected changes no longer provoke anxiety or frustration. Each moment becomes a chance to respond with presence and discernment rather than reaction. Peace emerges not from mastering the world, but from mastering the self, the inner alignment that allows life to unfold while remaining grounded in purpose and awareness. Those who quit the need to control discover a subtle freedom. Trust replaces strain, clarity replaces chaos, and the spirit moves with the calm confidence of someone who knows that mastery lies not in domination, but in understanding, discipline, and the quiet strength of letting life flow. As we walk the path of awakening, we begin to see clearly what no longer serves us: thoughts, habits, attachments, and fears that cloud the mind, burden the body, and weigh on the spirit. Letting go is not a sudden act, but a gentle, deliberate process. It asks for patience, honesty with oneself, and the quiet discipline to release what must be released. The 9+1 things we explored today are more than practices. They are reflections of ancient Shaolin wisdom. Mindfulness teaches awareness, inner clarity illuminates the truth within, discipline strengthens both body and mind, and acceptance allows life to flow without resistance. Each step of letting go creates space for insight, for peace, and for mastery that comes from within rather than from the world outside. Take a moment each day to observe yourself, notice what no longer serves, and release it patiently. Every small step is a victory, a movement toward freedom, wisdom, and deeper alignment with your own path. The more we let go, the lighter life becomes, and the more fully we can embrace the strength, clarity, and peace that were always within us. May this process unfold gently for you, and may each release bring you closer to the life you are truly meant to live. Thank you for being here, for reflecting, and for walking this path of awakening with intention. If you found value in these teachings, join our community by subscribing to Shaolin Soulfire and continue exploring the art of presence, discipline, and inner mastery with us. Peace, clarity, and strength be with you on your journey.